Parasite, Gu, breeding longevity path, starting from the love-enamored Gu. By Thousand Lakes True Person. Chapter 101, Reclaiming Everything in One Go, Robbing the Lu Family. I must ascend to higher realms, attain immortality and not end up like the Lu family. Zhou Sui clenched his fists, looking at the Lu family's cultivators, who were now completely dead. He made a vow in his heart. His desire to pursue the Dao became even more resolute. Whoosh! In an instant, numerous storage rings on the ground fell into his hands. Moreover, he had taken all the secret scriptures from the Lu family's scripture pavilion, leaving no books or heritage jade records behind. One could say that he now possessed all of the Lu family's wealth accumulated over 200 years. He felt very content in his heart. With these secret scripts and heritage of the Lu family, he was certainly able to advance further, and explore realms that were previously unknown. Whoosh! At this moment, the Dream Soul Gu opened its big mouth and swallowed all the souls of the Lu family's cultivators who had just died. The purified soul energy instantly entered its body. Its aura also became stronger. Not much time would pass before it could advance to the second stage. By then, the power of the Dream Soul Gu might become even more terrifying, considering it was only at the first stage now. Unfortunately, it could only devour the souls of enemies killed by its host and couldn't devour other wandering souls. Otherwise, taking the Dream Soul Gu to the battlefield to absorb the soul energy of a large number of mortals who had died could definitely improve its power more quickly. But he also doesn't feel regret. Just like this, the progress speed of the Dream Soul Gu is already quite good. If the ascension speed is too fast, it could lead to instability in its foundation. Ah, right, the Lu family's treasure vault. That place is where the real treasures of the Lu family are. I wonder how many heavenly treasures and spirit pills are stored in it. After collecting rent from me for so many years, now it's time to reclaim it all at once. Zhou Sui's eyes glinted. If the Lu family had been prepared, they would have emptied these treasures long ago, scattered them into various storage rings, distributed them to different elders of the Lu family, and then dispersed. At that time, he probably wouldn't have been able to get all of the Lu family's treasures. But now, because the ghost demon sect suddenly broke into the city, all of the Lu family's previous plans were thwarted. This made them have no time to gather treasures and flee. This is a great opportunity, and he can take the Lu family's treasure vault along the way. Whoosh! In a blink of an eye, Zhou Sui rushed to the location of the Lu family treasure vault according to the memory of those Lu family cultivators. At this moment, many elders of the Lu family were also gathered here. Their cultivation wasn't weak either, at least all were at the Qi cultivation 7th layer, and many were at the 8th or 9th layer. About half of the Lu family's elites were here. Clearly, for these elders, the treasure vault was more important than the scripture pavilion. After all, even if they got the secrets, they couldn't practice much, but the various rare treasures in the treasure vault could help them advance further and greatly increase their cultivation. Even if they didn't use them themselves, they could be given to their descendants. Since they are all here, slash them all. With a sweep of Zhou Sui's divine sense, he saw that there were at least 20 or 30 Lu family cultivators in the treasure vault, and the prohibition array in the treasure vault had been fully opened. After all, they were planning to loot the treasures and run, so of course they wouldn't leave the prohibition array on. Whoosh! Suddenly, numerous gold-eating bugs flew out, appearing to be around 40 or 50. They transformed into a golden light and flew into the treasure vault. Boom boom boom! Golden light flickered accompanied by screams, then quickly subsided. When Zhou Sui entered the treasure vault, he saw piles of bodies on the ground. They were all cultivators from the Lu family, once Lake Qi cultivation strong individuals. But now, they were all corpses and couldn't move at all. These Lu family cultivators revealed shocked expressions, seemingly unaware of how they died. Good, the power of the gold-eating bug has grown stronger. Zhou Sui stroked his chin, looking at the gold-eating bugs fluttering in the air. After more than 2 years of growth, they were obviously much stronger than before. Mysterious runes were now carved on their thick metal shells, making them even more resistant to cultivators' skills. Ordinary skills hitting them were as ineffective as a breeze. So when the Lu family cultivators inside the treasure vault attacked, they shockingly realized their attacks didn't harm these bugs at all. It was as if their efforts were futile. However, when the gold-eating bugs attacked these cultivators, it was like a dimensionality reduction attack, easily tearing apart their magic artifact shields and instantly piercing their bodies. The current gold-eating bug swarm was beginning to display a bit of world-devouring potential, forming a catastrophic bug disaster. I hit the jackpot, I've completely hit the jackpot. Seeing the treasures in the vault, Zhou Sui was overwhelmed with excitement. Because the treasure vault was filled with various types of pills, spiritual medicine, and rare materials collected by the Lu family over the years. There were even various types of magic artifacts and array plates. In short, this treasure vault was priceless, worth at least 1 million lower-grade spirit stones. Unfortunately, due to the siege over the past 2 years, a large amount of spirit stones was consumed. There weren't many spirit stones left in the vault. But regardless, the things in these treasures were enough to make a fortune. Ransack it all. Without saying another word, Zhou Sui immediately put all these treasures into his storage bag. After killing so many cultivators, he had no shortage of storage bags. In just a short while, the entire treasure vault was ransacked, cleaned more thoroughly than a face wash. Whoosh! After ransacking the Lu family's treasure vault and scripture pavilion, Zhou Sui also set a fire, burning these places. The fire would destroy all his traces and burn all the clues. As for other places in the Lu family, he didn't plan to go there. If one is content, there is enough. The treasures from just these 2 places were enough for him to live a rich life. If he continued to loot other places, he would definitely encounter cultivators who were rushing here. Even ghost demon sect cultivators. Then he would have to face them. Sure enough, just as Zhou Sui's clone left the Lu family and returned to the underground shelter through the underground tunnel, many loose cultivators, immortal mist sect cultivators, and even cultivators from the ghost demon sect, hurried over. After all, they all knew that the Lu family was about to be destroyed, and they also wanted to take advantage of the situation. Unfortunately for them, when they arrived, they found the entire Lu family's mansion was a sea of fire, and many houses were engulfed in the flames. Many of the Lu family's cultivators were scattering everywhere, not daring to stay in one place. Chapter 102, Rare Goods Worth Holding. I am Liu Bue of the Cultivation World. Damn it, who the hell plundered the Lu family treasury? They didn't even leave the scraps. At that moment, a cultivator entered the Lu residence and immediately began to swear, utterly disgusted. He had originally thought that since Misty Cloud City was breached, he could enter the Lu residence and commit grand theft. However, who could have expected that when he arrived at the Lu residence, the place was completely deserted? Even within the treasury, there was nothing left. This was even worse than a rat entering a granary. Not only did they not leave any treasures, they even burned down the entire Lu residence. Whoever pulled this nasty trick didn't even leave us any soup. Another cultivator grinned his teeth furiously in rage. They were among the first to reach the Lu residence, yet they still couldn't outdo that mysterious cultivator who beat them there and ransacked all the treasures in the Lu residence. This resulted in them returning empty-handed. I happen to think that it might not have been an outsider who did this. Perhaps the Lu family staged this themselves. However, someone didn't think this was the case. Their eyes gleamed. Misty Cloud City had just been breached, everyone else was busy escaping for their lives, no one would have thought to attack the Lu residence. At that time, the Lu residence was fully armed, and there were many cultivators in the late Qi cultivation stage. Unless a foundation building cultivator took actions personally, it would be impossible to eliminate so many elders of the Lu family in such a short time. The issue is there aren't many foundation building cultivators, they couldn't have reached the Lu residence. Ordinary cultivators were no match for the Lu family, so I think it's highly likely that the Lu family staged this themselves. Their aim is to make us believe that the Lu family suffered a catastrophe and their treasures have long been snatched away by other loose cultivators. But in reality, they would have secretly taken away their treasures long before. As soon as these words came out, the other cultivators were suddenly enlightened and understood immediately. None of them were fools, they immediately grasped the key point. So it is, I was wondering, how can anyone be faster than us? It must be the Lu family who did this, faking a scene of being robbed. Actually, they had already ordered the Lu family's descendants to flee with the treasures. This is a trick played by the Lu family, truly cunning for a centuries-old family. Immediately find the remaining Lu family members, the Lu family's treasures must be with them, we can't let them escape. Son of a bitch, we almost fell for it, the Lu family people are really vicious and crafty. The cultivators all discussed fervently among themselves, cursing loudly. They also felt that this guess made too much sense, even if there were outsiders, it was highly unlikely they could defeat the Lu family elders, and their speed couldn't have been that fast. So apart from the Lu family staging all this, there were virtually no other possibilities. Suddenly, numerous cultivators began to scatter, searching for the Lu family cultivators, hoping to find the treasures left by the Lu family. At that moment, Zhou Sui, who was safe in the underground shelter, was happily aware of everything happening in Misty Cloud City. The entire city was in utter chaos. Cultivators from the Immortal Mist sect, the Ghost Demon sect, various big families and loose cultivators were all fighting amongst each other. Vicious fights were breaking out everywhere. Of course, this had nothing to do with Zhou Sui. He could watch the fire from the other side without getting burned. All he had to do was quietly wait until the upheaval ended. His foresight had led him to build the underground shelter in advance. If he had not been able to build the underground shelter, perhaps he would have joined the fleeing crowd, fearing that the Ghost Demon sect cultivators would find him. Hey! Just then, Zhou Sui's mind was stirred. One of his clones sensed a beautiful silhouette silently flying out from the Lu residence, appearing in a nearby dark alleyway. It seemed like the silhouette was trying to seize the opportunity to leave. This figure was suffused with a powerful aura, clearly surpassing the Qi cultivation stage and almost reaching the Foundation establishment realm. However, the aura fluctuated, appearing as though it would disappear at any moment. What's going on? Does Misty Cloud City have a second Foundation building cultivator? Oh, right. There seems to be a Foundation building cultivator in Misty Cloud City, but he is from Immortal Mist sect. Could it be Lang Yuexi, the young sect master of Immortal Mist sect? But the woman seems to be in terrible condition. Zhou Sui stroked his chin. He immediately recalled the numerous pieces of information he had obtained. There were only two Foundation building cultivator in Misty Cloud City. One was Lu Hongran, the patriarch of the Lu family. The other was Lang Yuexi, the young sect master of Immortal Mist sect. But Lu Hongran had just risked his life fighting against the Foundation building demon cultivators, and the battle had not yet ended. The result was unknown. As for Lang Yuexi, she should be a Foundation building cultivator. However, she hadn't fought alongside Lu Hongran, which meant she must have had a health problem. Otherwise, if Lang Yuexi had joined the battle, these Foundation building demon cultivators might not have been able to hold out. Rumor has it that this woman was secretly attacked by a cultivator from the Ghost Demon sect and got poisoned severely. Her life is at stake. Could that rumor be true? Zhou Sui's eyes gleamed. He obtained this information from the memories of many cultivators of the Lu family. He also knew some information about Lang Yuexi. This woman was indeed a genius. She was only 80 years old, but she had already reached the peak of Foundation establishment. First-grade spiritual root aptitude. She was just one step away from advancing to Golden Core. If she hadn't been attacked by the Ghost Demon sect, she might have become a Golden Core master by now. This seems to be an opportunity. If I could plant the obsession goo in this woman, wouldn't I practically have a Foundation building companion? Then won't things like Foundation pill and second stage demonic beast's inner core be readily available? Besides, she's only poisoned, not on the verge of death. If I could cure the poison in her body, then I would gain a complete Foundation building battle force. Thinking of this, Zhou Sui was immediately intrigued. He thought this might actually be his real chance. What bullshit Lu family's fortune, that was nowhere near as valuable as this woman. She was the young sect master of Immortal Mist sect, a fairy from a reputable sect who might become the next sect master of Immortal Mist sect. If he could marry her, it would be equivalent to receiving the entire Immortal Mist sect as a dowry. After those two Golden Core cultivators of Immortal Mist sect passed away, Immortal Mist sect would be his. Although he was furious about what Immortal Mist sect had done, and he even wanted to destroy it, who wouldn't want to take control of Immortal Mist sect if given the chance? Just like in his past life, everyone criticized companies like Tencent and Alibaba, calling them vampires. But if they could take control of these companies, owning the majority of shares, that would be a completely different story. Those criticisms were merely because they couldn't get a piece of the action. What a treasure, what a treasure! Zhou Sui felt that he was like the Lu Bue of the cultivation world. In the past, Lu Bue had become the prime minister of the Qin state from a mere businessman by sponsoring Qin Shi Huang. He had a great promotion in status. And now, by relying on Lang Yuexi, the young sect master of Immortal Mist sect, he could become the Grand Elder of Immortal Mist sect. If this wasn't a legend, then what was? Who said that a person with a lower grade spiritual root couldn't join a golden core sect? Just marry a beautiful sect master, right? Chapter 103, The Fairy Lang Yuexi and the Straightforward Zhou Sui. To be honest, this was indeed an unprecedented opportunity. After all, normally, Zhou Sui wasn't eligible to meet foundation-building cultivators, let alone women of their caliber like Lang Yuexi. Different statuses, different strengths, naturally meant they never crossed paths. If he missed this chance, he wouldn't know when he'd get another. Moreover, he had no qualms about rising to power through a woman. Some relied on their parents for power, some on talent, some on luck. Weren't they all using external forces? Why couldn't he ascend through a spiritual partner then? Whoosh! With that thought, Zhou Sui didn't hesitate and immediately commanded his clone. The next second, his clone instantly appeared in the alley, in front of Lang Yuexi. Instantly, his spirits lifted. Even in the darkness, the stunning beauty of the woman in front of him was impossible to hide. Her skin was so delicate it could break from a blow, her exquisite, oval face radiant and alluring, eliciting tenderness from anyone who saw her. Even in the mundane world, her extraordinary demeanor shone through. Her body was also incredibly attractive, perfectly sculpted with not a single flaw to be found. No wonder she was hailed as the Sex Fairy, a name that was indeed well deserved. Interesting, it seems I, Lang Yuexi, am truly fallen. Even a mere Qi practitioner dares to assassinate me now. Lang Yuexi looked at Zhou Sui coldly with her radiant eyes as a terrifying aura spread from her. It seemed like she would attack the unknown man in front of her in an instant. Although she was indeed poisoned and had spent more than 2 years unable to purge the toxin. A foundation-building cultivator is always a foundation-building cultivator, no matter how weak they become. They are no match for a Qi practitioner. Just like a weak tiger is still not to be provoked by a rabbit. Don't worry, Senior Lang, I'm not your enemy but want to help you. Zhou Sui showed no fear, remaining calm as he looked at her. He seemed unfazed by the murderous intent around him which suggested his imminent death, and his sense of ease was evident. Help me? What could a mere Qi practitioner possibly do to help me? Hearing this, Lang Yuexi wanted to laugh. She was currently in a self-preservation mode and didn't know if she could survive her current predicament. But this insignificant Qi practitioner had the audacity to utter such ludicrous claims. If it were anyone else, she would have killed the minor cultivator with a palm strike. Yet, curiously, looking at Zhou Sui's calm face, she felt a hint of security. It seemed like her instinct was telling her that this man could be trusted. Most importantly, this male cultivator seemed rather charming, at least not like the other smelly men. That was one of the powers of the obsession gu. Even if it couldn't increase Zhou Sui's strength, it could enhance his charisma, especially with women. This charisma practically transcended cultivation stages. Of course, the lower the cultivation stage of the female cultivator was, the greater the influence would be. Lang Yuexi, unknowingly, was influenced to some extent. Although she wasn't in love with him, there was at least a hint of fondness, and she was willing to listen to Zhou Sui. If it were another male cultivator, she would have killed him long ago, not interested in his nonsense. If I'm not mistaken, Senior Lang, you have been poisoned, and have lost 9/10 of your power. Outside, the city is surrounded by cultivators of the ghost demon sect, with foundation-building cultivators lurking. Escaping from Misty Cloud City now will certainly result in your death, Senior Lang. However, I have a hideout that can save you. Of course, you don't need to worry about me plotting against you. If I really wanted to harm you, I would have simply given your information to the ghost demon sect. Why would I need to go the extra mile? Zhou Sui smiled slightly. Interesting. What do you want? What do you want to gain from me? Lang Yuexi looked deeply at him. She believed 3 parts of Zhou Sui's words. Because it was indeed so. If he harbored malicious intent, he would have leaked her whereabouts long ago, instead of risking his life to intercept her. What he wanted was, of course, her, all of her. With her, what couldn't he get? Zhou Sui blinked. Of course, he wouldn't be foolish enough to say that out loud. He honestly said, truth be told, I'm a loose cultivator, nearly at the Qi cultivation nineth layer. I aim to become a foundation-building cultivator in the future, and thus need a foundation pill. The problem is, as a loose cultivator, it's hard to come by a foundation pill. But if I save you, Senior Lang, I might be able to get a foundation pill to help promote me to the foundation establishment realm. That's my purpose. But if you turn me in, wouldn't you also get a foundation pill from the ghost demon sect? Lang Yuexi was non-committal. But internally, she believed about half his claim. She was not afraid of his demands, but of him having none. If it was a foundation pill, given her status and position, it wouldn't be a difficult matter. How can you trust the words of demon cultivators? I trust you, Senior Ling, from a reputable, upright sect, much more. If it were a cultivator from the ghost demon sect, I'm afraid I'd be killed by the demon cultivator before even getting the foundation pill. Zhou Sui spoke seriously. Indeed, you're quite perceptive. Those demon cultivators are all despicable and dishonorable, cunning and merciless, bereft of credibility. If you really trusted their promises, then death wouldn't be far. Lang Yuexi was thoroughly satisfied with Zhou Sui's answer. Seems like the reputation of a decent, orthodox sect still held some sway, at least they could help from loose cultivators at critical junctures. So, Senior Ling, have you agreed to my terms? Zhou Sui had an elated look on his face. Yes, I agree. If you save me, naturally I will give you the foundation pill. But now, Misty Cloud City is surrounded by demon cultivators. How do you plan to save me? If I were to die here, I wouldn't be able to fulfill the promise to you. Lang Yuexi was very curious about how the man in front of her planned to save her. The current situation was a 10-sided ambush by the ghost demon sect, there seemed to be no hope of escape. Senior Ling, just follow me. Zhou Sui didn't explain anything. He led Lang Yuexi to a deserted courtyard nearby, where there was a huge hole that led to an underground shelter. A hole? Do you mean you've dug a tunnel underground? Lang Yuexi instantly understood Zhou Sui's method of escape. Correct, I spent a lot of time digging a large maze under Misty Cloud City. Zhou Sui nodded, as long as we escape through the underground tunnel, even the foundation building cultivators of the ghost demon sect won't know where we are hiding. If we stay hidden underground for a while, the demon cultivators won't be able to find you, and the ghost demon sect will naturally retreat. At that point, we can leave. Not bad at all. Upon hearing this, Lang Yuexi's eyes lit up instantly, she felt very excited. Indeed, if there truly was a large passage underground, they could evade the pursuit of the ghost demon sect and survive. She felt a surge of joy in her heart, it seemed she didn't have to die after all. Chapter 104, Again applying goo, highly poisonous blue demon. Whoosh! At this moment, Zhou Sui made a slight movement, the offspring worm of the obsession goo silently vanished into Lang Yuexi's body. Lang Yuexi didn't have the slightest perception of it. Once he had done this, he felt substantially at ease. After all, it was a risky move to let an unknown female cultivator, who had just reached foundation establishment, enter his base without having a backup plan. That would be nothing but inviting trouble. What if she suddenly changed her mind? Wouldn't he be in hot water then? The human heart was unpredictable. Nor did he see anything wrong with his using the goo. Some people pursue women with wealth, others with wisdom or appearance. He was merely using the goo. Essentially, there wasn't much difference. Ancient people had a saying, judge by deeds, not by hearts, for there were no good people if hearts were judged. Even matters between a man and a woman weren't as straightforward as one might think. You admired a woman for her beauty, and she might admire you for your wealth and power. The principle was the same. Could it be that only a poor man and an ugly woman could have true love? A rich man and a beautiful woman couldn't. So no matter what the means were, or how the process played out, as long as the result was good, that was all that mattered. As long as he treated his Deo partner well in the future, that would suffice. Right now she was helping him, later on, he would help her. Isn't that what Deo partners were about? Mutual support and help. Therefore, he felt no shame. Everything he was doing was for the purpose of achieving longevity and mere survival in this cruel world. Thinking of this, Zhou Sui felt comfortably fulfilled and his mind was at ease. He felt all of his actions had been justified. Without him, this beautiful woman would have long since vanished from existence. There's no way she could have survived. In that case, let's get going now. At this time, Lang Yuexi had no idea what the man in front of her was thinking. She found herself becoming more and more attracted to him. He had been charming from the start, and now, he seemed even more captivating. Her admiration for this man was growing. After all, there is a vast difference between giving someone help in their hour of need, and adding the final touch to something already beautiful. This man had saved her in her moment of crisis. Even if his motive was the foundation pill, he had, in fact, saved her life. Okay. After saying those words, under Zhou Sui's guidance, the two set off swiftly towards the underground refuge through the tunnel, which was then quickly concealed by the gold-eating bug. In this way, no one knew that there had, at one point, been a tunnel here. Nor would anyone be able to find his hiding place through that tunnel. It didn't take long for Lang Yuexi to reach the underground shelter hundreds of meters deep under the lead of Zhou Sui's clone. At first glance, she saw Zhou Sui, Ji Binjiu, Mu Ziyi, and Xia Jinjian. But she noticed there were two Zhou Suis and was horrified. Could they be twin brothers? The person you were talking to earlier was one of my clones, Senior Ling. Zhou Sui waved his hand and with a rumble, the clone vanished instantly. A clone? No wonder you dared to talk to me alone. Lang Yuexi stole a deep glance at Zhou Sui, her heart shaking. This kind of avatar skill was beyond her imagination. She, being a cultivator who had reached foundation establishment, couldn't spot any flaws. She had thought it was his real body at first. She didn't realize it was just a clone. Even the Immortal Mist sect didn't have such a powerful avatar skill. There was no doubt this was a top-grade clone skill, it could be incredibly useful at critical moments. If the talks had turned sour, she might not have received his help. After all, it was just a clone she was dealing with earlier. Even if she became aggressive, she wouldn't be able to harm him. She felt a relief deep inside, glad that she wasn't the kind of person who crossed a river and burnt the bridge, or was ungrateful. Otherwise, she wouldn't have received his help. Who might these people be? Lang Yuexi looked at Ji Binjiu and the other two women, asking curiously. They are all my Dao partners. Zhou Sui introduced them freely, without any attempt to hide the fact. Nice to meet you, Senior Ling. Ji Binjiu, Mu Ziyi, and Xia Jinjian greeted her, curiously observing this young sect master of the Immortal Mist sect. They had heard from Zhou Sui earlier that he intended to save a young sect master from the Immortal Mist sect. They hadn't thought it would be the legendary Lang Yuexi, the famous top-tier foundation establishment cultivator. Although they felt uneasy about this decision, they trusted Zhou Sui's judgment without a doubt. Because their Zhou Sui was such a cautious person, how could he possibly save someone without absolute certainty he could do it? No, it wasn't just about saving a life, maybe he wanted to be the hero and save the beauty. Could it be that Zhou Sui was attracted to the young sect master of the Immortal Mist sect and wanted to take her as a concubine? But that would be too outrageous. Thinking about taking a female cultivator who had reached foundation establishment as a concubine, it just sounded incredibly exaggerated in any way you looked at it. If he succeeded, it would surely rock the cultivation world 100,000 miles around, wouldn't it? But if it were Zhou Sui, given his charm, maybe he really could do it. The three women had varying thoughts, each had her own ideas, but no one voiced them. Good to meet you. Lang Yuexi looked at Ji Binjiu and the other women, her face showing a peculiar expression. She thought Zhou Sui was young and alone. But surprisingly, he already had 3 Dao partners. They were young, beautiful, and well-built. Damn, no men were good at all. All they knew was to screw around with women. Thank goodness she was only involved in a transaction with him. Once she managed to survive and gave him the foundation pill, their transaction would be completed. They could cut off all connections and never have anything to do with each other again. But for some reason, she felt bitter. An uncomfortable feeling swelled in her heart. It was an emotion she had not experienced for many years. However, as a cultivator who had reached foundation establishment, she concealed her feelings well, not revealing anything. Senior Ling, could you tell me what kind of poison you've been afflicted with? Maybe I can help solve it. Zhou Sui asked curiously. He wasn't being polite. He was stating the fact. After all, the Gu Divine Bowl could produce countless Gu insects, and some of them had detoxification abilities. If he could prepare the corresponding materials, he should be able to detoxify her. I've been poisoned with the deadly blue demon. Lang Yuexi said gravely. She didn't want to answer this question, as it was her secret. Revealing her weakness to strangers was tantamount to seeking her own death. But for some unknown reason, even though it was her first encounter with this man, she felt positively towards him, and couldn't bear to hide anything from him. So she blurted out the poison she had been afflicted with. Chapter 105, the ghost demon sect suffers heavy losses and is hunted down across the city. Is it the deadly blue demon poison? At hearing this, Zhou Sui's pupils constricted. As a top-grade pill master, he was well versed in all sorts of spiritual and poisonous medicines, and knew clearly what this poison entailed. The so-called deadly blue demon was brewed by cultivating an obscure poisonous plant in the miasmic valleys with the fresh blood of the seven-step snake. Once the plant bore its quiet blue flowers, they were fed to the same lethal snake. This double-pronged poison aggravated the snake's venom, making its scales take on a blue hue. Severing the snake's tail and discarding the first 2 drops of blood, the subsequent 3 droplets were used to embed silver needles. These needles gleamed a muted blue, carrying the eerie aura of the seven-step snake, thus, earning the name Blue Demon. The violent nature of the blue demon poison couldn't be described as gentle. Upon poisoning, the victim would be shrouded in a faint blue light. Once the color ascended to the head, the poison would affect the brain, causing a sudden hemorrhage and immediate death. So if Lang Yuexi was alive, it was solely because her body had been fortified by a multitude of medicinal herbs and because her foundation-building cultivation was forcefully suppressing the toxicity. If not, she would have fallen a victim of toxicity a long time ago. She wouldn't have survived till this day. Even with all the support, she wouldn't last much longer. How did you get poisoned? Zhou Sui asked. It's just the despicable tactics of the ghost demon sect. Lang Yuexi clenched her fist. She recounted how she had won an auction of a core formation material at the Suanbao Tower auction in Misty Cloud City. She had intended to return to the Immortal Mist sect and prepare for core formation. Who could have anticipated that it was a trap? The so-called core formation spiritual material was deliberately put up for auction at Suanbao Tower by the ghost demon sect to lure her out of her mountain fortress. They then ambushed her in Misty Cloud City. Initially, her impatience to form a core had made her oblivious to the plot and inadvertently, she fell into the ghost demon sect's trap. She was ambushed by 5 to 6 foundation-building demon cultivators. Their battle had wreaked havoc, shattering the peace outside the city. Fortunately, she had some treasures and talismans that helped her escape death. Even so, she had still been poisoned by the ghost demon sect's deadly blue demon. To detoxify the poison, she decided to stay in Misty Cloud City. Regrettably, even after more than 2 years, she had been unable to purge the toxin from her body. Conversely, as time dragged on, the toxicity grew stronger. If she didn't find a solution soon, she would surely succumb to the poison. Even if she managed to return to the Immortal Mist sect, due to the depth of the poison in her system, they might still not be able to find an antidote. If they did find an antidote, the time she had spent poisoned may have damaged her foundation, destroying any hope of core formation. Perhaps it was for this reason that the 2 Golden Core Elders of the Immortal Mist sect were unwilling to take the risk to save her. After all, a valueless foundation-building cultivator was not worth the Immortal Mist sect's risk. Even if Lang Yuexi had once been the sect's saintess. Once fallen, she was no longer favored. That's the situation. Even if you manage to rescue me, with my current cultivation, I might not be able to retrieve the foundation pill for you. Lang Yuexi looked at Zhou Sui very seriously. She had initially intended to hide her situation. After all, if it came to light, she, being valueless, might get abandoned. But, for some reason, she didn't want to lie to this man. I see. Well, this makes it easier. We just need to resolve the deadly blue demon in your system, right? Zhou Sui stroked his chin and indicated that he understood the situation. If that was the case, he would concoct goo insects that can detoxify the poison, which should resolve Lang Yuexi's problem. Then, he might gain a foundation-building cultivator for his own use. Regardless, it seemed like a profitable transaction. Did you not hear what I said? What I've been poisoned with is the deadly blue demon. Even the alchemists of the Immortal Mist sect are unable to resolve this severe toxicity. Even if I'm taken back to the Immortal Mist sect, I'm beyond saving. If you exert yourself, it will only be an exercise in futility. Lang Yuexi couldn't help but say. No matter, the person I, Zhou Sui, wish to save cannot be snatched away even by the god of death. Leave the poison in your body to me to handle. Zhou Sui looked earnestly at Lang Yuexi. Humph, do as you like. Upon hearing this, warmth instantly rushed through Lang Yuexi. Even though he was a scoundrel with 3 Dao companions, he knew her situation and still couldn't bear to abandon her. He must be a good person. But she still maintained her toughness. At this moment, within Misty Cloud City, the foundation-building battle had finally concluded. The desperate struggle by Lu Hongran, the patriarch of the Lu family, had caused a massive blow to the ghost demon sect. Merely the leftover shockwaves of the battle decimated dozens of disciples who were at the Qi cultivation stage. Even just before he died, he managed to kill 2 demon cultivators in the early stage of foundation building and heavily injured 4. The resulting destruction had caused heavy casualties within the ghost demon sect, driving the remaining foundation building cultivators into a wrathful frenzy. Damn you old ghost, you think your death will be the end of this matter? Don't be foolish, relay my orders, capture every member of the Lu family. I want to annihilate 9 generations of the Lu family. A foundation building elder from the ghost demon sect roared in fury. He was absolutely livid. Originally, they could have occupied Misty Cloud City without any losses, earning a resounding victory. But who could have thought that Lu Hongran would disregard his own life, not caring if he died just so he could drag others down with him? The result was that out of the 6 foundation building cultivators, 2 died and 4 were heavily injured. A massive victory had instantly turned into a Pyrrhic one. Although Lu Hongran was already dead, the members of the Lu family were still alive. So, they were the first targets for their revenge. The many cultivators from the ghost demon sect immediately mobilized, starting to search for the remaining members of the Lu family. Each one committed to skinning them alive and breaking their bones, wishing to make them wish they were dead. Right, that woman, what about Lang Yuexi, the young sect master of the Immortal Mist sect, has she been found? At this moment, a foundation building elder immediately inquired. After all, they paid a heavy price to breach Misty Cloud City. Their primary objective was to capture Lang Yuexi alive. If Lang Yuexi managed to escape, then their entire plan would have been completed in vain. Reporting to the elder, there are too many people in Misty Cloud City. Lang Yuexi intentionally hid herself. She hasn't shown herself at all. We can't find her whereabouts at the moment. A disciple of the ghost demon sect immediately responded, apprehensive and breaking out into a cold sweat, fearful that the elder would think they were incompetent and that they would be punished as a result. Hiding? Misty Cloud City is only this big, where else could she hide? She must be hiding somewhere in Misty Cloud City. You don't need to worry about that woman, even though she is at the foundation establishment stage, but she was poisoned with our ghost demon sect's deadly blue demon poison. She's as good as dead. Her strength is reduced to 1/10 of what it was. She would struggle even against a late-stage Qi cultivator. Immediately conduct a carpet search. I want to see that woman before night falls. The foundation building elder issued his commands. Yes, elder. Hearing this, the many disciples of the ghost demon sect sprang into action, completely surrounding Misty Cloud City, carrying out a carpet search to find Lang Yuexi's whereabouts. Unfortunately, they were unaware that Lang Yuexi had already hidden hundreds of meters underground. No matter how they searched, they could not find any trace of her. Chapter 106, Promotion to Second Stage Pill Master, the Wonderful Use of Foundation Establishment Divine Sense. Underground Shelter. In a quiet room, Zhou Sui paid no heed to the happenings in Misty Cloud City, knowing they would never locate him. He was blissfully examining the numerous storage bags he had plundered from the Lu family, containing a plethora of treasures and an assortment of secret manuals. Wow, they've gathered quite a few cultivation technique manuals. Zhou Sui was astounded. He sensed that there were at least 100 manuals, each can be practiced until the foundation establishment realm. Some even contained information to reach the Golden Core realm. For instance, Changchun Gong, Xiangjia skill, Gui Yuan skill, Tu Li skill, and so on. Each of these manuals could fetch thousands, even tens of thousands of lower-grade spiritual stones at an auction. This kind of manual is even unattainable by rich loose cultivators. But in the Lu family, they were everywhere. Every Lu family member with enough aptitude could study these manuals. This showed the depth of the Lu family potential. The centuries-long family lineage was indeed no joke. Of course, it also demonstrated the greatness of the Lu family's patriarch. Essentially, he built the enormous wealth of the family himself. The rest of the Lu family members were only average in talent. But the accumulated wealth of the Lu family over the past century now belonged to him. In addition to the cultivation technique manuals, there are legacies of talisman masters, artifact refiners, array masters, and pill masters. The techniques of the 4 cultivation arts are incredibly comprehensive. The Lu family, possessing so much wealth in Misty Cloud City, have inherited a staggering amount of wealth. This is too exaggerated. I suspect even the foundation establishment families that have been around for 300 to 500 years can't rival the heritage of the Lu family. It must be due to the prosperity of Misty Cloud City. Nestled in the Cloud Mist mountain range, they have access to a steady stream of resources. No wonder so many families envy the Lu family. They all want to kick them while they are down. They have simply amassed too much wealth. Wait, there is indeed a second-order alchemist heritage. This is fantastic. Suddenly, Zhou Sui's eyes lit up. As he flipped through the remaining manuals, each piece of knowledge left him in awe. These teachings were beyond what he had previously possessed. This was the cultivation knowledge which is almost impossible for loose cultivators to access. This shows how severe the monopoly on knowledge in the cultivation world is. Unless you reach a certain level, you don't even qualify to have access. Yet, naturally, what he values most is the alchemist's heritage, as it forms the basis of his identity. In not too long a time, he finally found the jade record related to second-order alchemist heritage, and he was instantly overjoyed. This was heritage knowledge that you couldn't buy, even if you had spirit stones. These were firmly monopolized by sects, and the loose cultivators had no eligibility to access them. Unless you were to join a sect, it was virtually impossible to obtain such knowledge otherwise. His earlier suspicion turned out correct. The Lu family did possess the second-order alchemist heritage. The reality even surpassed his imagination. It was even more complete than what he had expected. Clearly, the patriarch of the Lu family knows the importance of the alchemist heritage. It's something that could establish the foundation of the family. If the family were to indeed birth a second-order alchemist, they could potentially develop the Lu family into a millennia-old lineage. I've struck it. With this second-order alchemist knowledge, I'm sure to become a second-order alchemist. Zhou Sui was ecstatic. After waiting for such a long time, he finally got it. He was just one step away from becoming a second-order alchemist, only lacking the knowledge of a second-order alchemist, thus unable to progress. Thinking of this, he could not control his excitement and immediately let Bookworm out to devour this alchemist heritage jade record. Swish swish! Bookworm instantly pounced on it, beginning to consume the heritage jade record. When the entirety of the jade record entered Bookworm's stomach, in an instant, a torrent of vast amount of knowledge poured into the depths of his sea of consciousness. All kinds of knowledge about the second-order alchemist instantly appeared in his mind. His alchemist cultivation was already at the peak of first-grade superior, but he had been unable to break through. After obtaining this knowledge, he felt as though he had received the key to the last gate, enabling him to shatter his bottleneck instantly. Second-order alchemist. In an instant, Zhou Sui sensed a further improvement in his understanding of the alchemist realm. This phenomenal growth was simply unimaginable. So this is the secret of a second-order alchemist. To become a second-order alchemist, the most important thing is the use of divine sense. Zhou Sui had a sudden realization, immediately understanding why qi cultivation cultivators can hardly become second-order alchemists. No matter how talented they can only achieve a first-grade superior alchemist realm. The reason is that to become a second-order alchemist, one must master the use of divine sense. Without divine sense, no matter how amazing the talent, one cannot enter the second-order alchemist realm. Second-order pills are more powerful than first-order pills. Particularly the various spiritual medicines required for combining into a second-order pill, they're nearly impossible to refine with ordinary techniques. At this stage, you need to use the power of divine sense to detect various impurities inside the spiritual medicines. These internal impurities of the spiritual medicines cannot be found without the aid of divine sense. It's exactly like microorganisms. Without the aid of a microscope, you can't find them. Only by using the power of divine sense to sense these impurities, and harnessing the power of earth fire to eliminate them, can you greatly increase the success rate of second-order pills. Without the aid of divine sense, it's basically impossible to purify spiritual medicines. If many impurities within the spiritual medicine are not purified and various spiritual medicines conflict with each other, alchemy will inevitably fail, and naturally, it will be impossible to concoct second-order pills. The number of attempted concoctions will equal the number of failures. Zhou Sui's eyes gleamed. Undoubtedly, this is the wonderful application of divine sense by foundation establishment cultivators. The power of divine sense isn't used only for sensing enemies, but also for concocting pills, refining artifacts, creating talismans, etc. Many abilities of cultivators can only be achieved by becoming a cultivator at the foundation establishment stage. Therefore, the foundation establishment realm is truly the starting point in the world of cultivation. As for Qi cultivation cultivators, they aren't even considered at the starting point, they are just regarded as kings in the mortal world. No wonder genius alchemists who achieved the second-order alchemist rank during Qi cultivation period are so highly valued. Their status is on par with foundation establishment cultivators. It's not just because they possess the skill to concoct second-order pills. More importantly, becoming a second-order alchemist signifies the formation of divine sense. If so, a second-order alchemist will inevitably be a foundation establishment cultivator. There is at least a 50% chance. If you add in the foundation pill, the chance goes up to 70 to 80%. If they can further enhance their vitality and mana to the perfect state, then they are almost certain to reach foundation establishment. The issue is, like giant pandas, people who can become a second-order alchemist in the Qi cultivation period are rare. Chapter 107, The Seven Apertures Spirit Secret, The Unfathomable Soul Secret Art. That's right, the Lu family also has a more important secret manual in their line of heritage, the Seven Apertures Spirit Secret. Zhou Sui's eyes showed a flash of intensity. Without a doubt, aside from the second stage alchemy heritage, the most important heritage of the Lu family is the Seven Apertures Spirit Secret. This was the crucial reason why Lu Hongran, the ancestor of the Lu family, rose to prominence and advanced to become a foundation establishment cultivator even though he was a loose cultivator with only a 5th grade spiritual root and without a sect. It was said that Lu Hongran used to be just an ordinary scholar in a mortal dynasty. By chance, he slipped off a cliff and accidentally entered a cave abode. There, he happened to encounter a fallen high person and obtained his heritage. The most important of these was this Seven Apertures Spirit Secret. This was a soul secret art for cultivating the power of the spirit, incredibly profound and deep. Legend has it that there exists such a unique physical constitution in the world, known as the Seven Apertures Spirit Heart. Once one possesses the Seven Apertures Spirit Heart, one can communicate with all things in the world. With this ability, one can see through all illusion techniques. One would even have photographic memory and exceptional understanding. This secret manual was created by a powerful cultivator who simulated this special constitution and thus created the soul secret art. The so-called Seven Apertures Spirit Heart does not refer to the eyes of the heart. Keep in mind, normal people don't have eyes in their hearts. If they do, death is not far away. The so-called eyes refer to heart eyes. That is to say, imbuing 7 heart eyes within the body, each heart eye contains incredible abilities. If all 7 heart eyes are gathered, then one would be able to perceive everything. Back in the day, Lu Hongran leveraged this secret manual, consolidated a heart eye and as a result, he gained the ability to distinguish the properties of all materials and see the truth of treasures. Using this ability, he would travel between various loose cultivator markets, constantly buying low and selling high, earning a lot of spirit stones. Within a short amount of time, he amassed enormous wealth, even enough to purchase a foundation pill. As you can imagine, Lu Hongran naturally became a foundation establishment cultivator. Unfortunately, his aptitude was limited to this point, and consolidating just one heart eye was already his limit. Consolidating a second heart eye was an impossible task. Back in the days, Lu Hongran had once imparted this secret manual to the disciples of the Lu family. But among the Lu family, basically no one could grasp it, let alone consolidate a heart eye. I can't believe Lu Hongran actually had such opportunities. Zhou Sui was amazed. After just a glance at the introduction above, he knew that this cultivation technique was extraordinary. In the entire cultivation world, there were hardly any secret manuals that could compare to this soul secret art. This might indeed be a unique cultivation technique. It's rather unexpected that Lu Hongran had such extraordinary encounters. Indeed, every loose cultivator that rises to prominence has uncommon encounters. Otherwise, without resources, talent, guidance from a master, how can one be successful in foundation establishment? However, it's a pity that the cultivation technique is incomplete and only includes the first 3 layers. Even if practiced to the end, only 3 heart eyes can be consolidated. But for ordinary cultivators, this is certainly enough. Even if only 1 heart eye can be consolidated, it's still an extra gift of talent for a cultivator. This is fantastic. Wouldn't mastering this cultivation technique allow me to advance another level? Zhou Sui was very excited, feeling like his blood was boiling. Although he possesses strong spiritual power and was naturally endowed with a powerful soul, he always lacked a soul secret art. The appearance of the 7 Apertures Spirit Secret book seemed like sending charcoal in snowy weather. If he can master this secret technique, it would be like adding wings to a tiger. Thinking of this, he took a careful look at the secret art, wondering whether he could understand it with his current level of comprehension. An hour later. Damn it, what the hell is this cultivation technique? Can a human being learn it? Zhou Sui's face turned green. He initially thought of giving it a go by himself, without relying on the power of the bookworm, to see if he could learn it. But after carefully reading the content of the secret manual, he found that this technique was just too overbearing. This technique includes using the power of the spiritual sense to consolidate a heart eye deep within oneself. Furthermore, the heart eye cannot be fabricated recklessly. In terms of precision, it has to be identical to a real eye. More so, it has to be a three-dimensional model. This is equivalent to using one's own divine sense to recreate an eye. Consider this, the eye is an extremely precise part of the human body and can be said to be the most precise part. Even the slightest deviation can lead to the destruction of the heart eye, rendering all previous efforts futile. Once the heart eye is destroyed, it causes a backlash of the spiritual sense, severely damaging the soul. Over time, a cultivator's soul will collapse and die. Back then, there were not a few people in the Lu family who went mad because they practiced this cultivation technique, which led to the collapse of their souls. In the end, many members of the Lu family were scared and dared not practice. They even shelved this secret technique, barring other Lu family disciples from practicing. Even though sealing this supreme technique away may seem like a waste, there was no other way. Without enough talent, it was impossible to learn it. Even entering the door was an impossible task. No wonder no one could learn it, there would be ghosts if anyone could. This is indeed a cultivation method that can be learned only by golden core cultivators or even those above the nascent soul stage. How on earth did Lu Hungground manage to learn it? Zhou Sui sighed deeply. He understood very well why the disciples of the Lu family couldn't learn this cultivation method. Among the cultivators within several tens of thousands of miles radius, probably not even one could master the 7 Apertures Spirit Secret. After all, learning this cultivation method first requires a very strong soul power and high comprehension. Only then is there a possibility of learning it, otherwise, failure is certain. Just a few failed attempts at shaping the heart eye would severely damage the soul. The reason why Lu Hungground was able to learn it was not only due to his talent, but mainly because he received the sweet dew illumination of the deceased mysterious cultivator. Otherwise, he would not have been able to even begin. Forget it, I've got to use cheat codes. Zhou Sui pondered for a moment and decided to give up on his own efforts. Isn't it great to use the power of the bookworm? If he were to rely on himself, he probably wouldn't even get a chance to start it before he died. Swish! The bookworm jumped on it once again, swallowing the heritage jade record. Suddenly, a vast amount of information plunged into the deep recesses of his sea of consciousness, providing everything about the 7 Apertures Spirit Secret, reaching the level of photographic memory. He sensed that 3 patterns had formed, each pattern representing a heart eye. The constructed structure of the heart eye surfaced. Using this structure, he could perfect such a heart eye within himself. If he was successful in perfecting it, it would mean that he had consolidated a heart eye. Chapter 108, Method of Constructing Heart Eyes, the Lu Family's Foundation Establishment Spiritual Materials. I see. With the aid of the bookworm's power, Zhou Sui understood instantly. The heritage jade record contained instructions on constructing the 3 heart eyes. Once one is completed, it signifies reaching the first level. If a second one is completed, it signifies reaching the second level. If he could construct 7 heart eyes, that would signify reaching the 7th level. This would mean he had cultivated this technique to its highest realm. The first heart eye is observation. Once condensed, it gives one the ability to sense various information about all things in the world. Even without ever encountering them before, one could still make educated guesses. The second heart eye is insight, which can enlarge one's divine sense range by 10 or even 20 times and offers a 360-degree unobstructed view. It's even more potent and subtle than divine sense, and cultivators with a higher cultivation can't detect the perception of the heart eyes, thus allowing one to perceive enemy movements from various distances. The third heart eye is heart view. If this realm is reached, one can hear the inner voices of other creatures and sense their various emotions. The uses are limitless. Without a doubt, each heart eye contains marvelous abilities that seem divine. This cultivation technique is incredible. Zhou Sui was astonished, the more he realized the strength of this cultivation technique, the more he believed it was an extraordinary technique, perhaps even a top-tier one that shouldn't belong to this world. If he weren't aided by the power of the bookworm, it would likely take him an eternity to grasp it, no matter how much time he spent. Although this technique doesn't possess much offensive power, it definitely ranks among the top in terms of supportive capabilities. Even if he mastered only one hard eye, it would boost his power significantly. Very good, very good. Are there really so many magical weapons and materials? At this moment, Zhou Sui temporarily put aside his cultivation of the 7 apertures spirit secret. After all, achieving success in this technique is not something that could happen overnight. He then continued to take stock of his current assets. The Lu family treasury also contained large amounts of magical artifacts. Among them, there were 1,000 lower-grade magical tools, 500 middle-grade magical tools, and 30 top-grade magic weapons. However, there were no treasures at all. Apart from these, there were also plenty of magical tool materials. Just the value of these magical tools alone surpassed 1 million lower-grade spiritual stones. Of course, he wouldn't be refining any treasures. More than likely these materials would either be sold off or used as food for the gold-eating bug to promote its growth. Ordinary magical tools were not very useful to him, nowhere near as beneficial as the power of his own goo insects. The most critical point was that he generally liked to play safe. Would it not be foolish to wear a magical tool and fight against other cultivators? If he were to fail, it would be over for him. It was either deal the enemy a swift death, or don't fight at all. This was his philosophy of surviving. Oh my, the Lu family has a lot of spiritual medicine stored up as well. Zhou Sui's eyes instantly lit up. Compared to the numerous magical tools, he was more interested in spiritual medicine. After all, magical tools can't be eaten, but spiritual medicine can be consumed and can rapidly enhance cultivation. He made a careful count, and he must have obtained at least 1,000 strains of spiritual medicine this time. It goes without saying, truly worthy of a foundation establishment family. The amount of spiritual medicine and pills stored in the treasury was too much. But this was to be expected. Since the Lu family has numerous descendants, the number of pills they consume yearly is considerable. And so, the treasury naturally stored large amounts of pills and spiritual medicine. Even after being besieged for over 2 years, they didn't deplete their storage of spiritual medicine. Wait a minute, isn't this the spiritual medicine for refining a foundation pill? At this moment, Zhou Sui was excited to find that there were many portions of the foundation pill ingredients amongst these spiritual medicines. If they were to be added to the previous ones he had obtained. At least 12 batches of foundation spiritual medicine are now in his possession. Basically, aside from the main ingredient golden jade lingzi, he all but has all the materials required to refine a foundation pill. This would save him plenty of time searching for other foundation pill ingredients. I see, so the Lu family also wanted to refine foundation pills. At the sight of these spiritual medicines, Zhou Sui immediately understood the Lu family's intentions. Obviously, they too were troubled by the foundation pill. Relying solely on the foundation pills from the Immortal Mist sect and other sects just wasn't enough for the Lu family cultivators. Because of this, the Lu family naturally wanted to become self-sufficient and refine their own foundation pill. Despite not having the primary ingredient, golden jade lingzi, if they had the opportunity they could still obtain a second-stage demon core. After all, they were located near the Misty Cloud Mountain range. If they were lucky enough to hunt a second-stage magical beast, they might get a second-stage demon core. The Lu family was always prepared to refine the foundation pill. It's a pity that they genuinely had terrible luck. After preparing for a long time, the Lu family still had not obtained a second-stage demon core. As a result, these batches of foundation pill ingredients were left unused, until they fell into Zhou Sui's hands. With these batches of foundation pill ingredients, even if I fail a few times, I should still be able to successfully refine a foundation pill. Zhou Sui was filled with joy. Originally, he was worried that even if he obtained a second-stage demon core in the future, he might not be able to successfully refine a foundation pill. But now seeing these extra batches of ingredients, even if his success rate is low, he is bound to succeed a time or two. Next, I need to go deep into the Misty Cloud Mountains and find those first-tier magical beasts. Then, I need to nurture a first-tier magical beast into a second-tier magical beast, kill it, and take its demon core. Zhou Sui stroked his chin. He was contemplating his next move, which was to head deep into the Misty Cloud Mountain range. After all, a large number of magical beasts lived deep in the Misty Cloud mountain range. And now that the seventh order formation of Misty Cloud City was broken, the gold-eating bug could continue to dig tunnels underground. It could even dig a tunnel hundreds of kilometers long to the deeper parts of the mountains. He wouldn't need to encounter any of the cultivators from the ghost demon sect, he could merely travel through the underground tunnel. This way, he could silently leave Misty Cloud City and the ghost demon sect's siege. Truthfully, he didn't want to stay in the underground shelter forever. Even if the possibility of the shelter being discovered by enemies was slim, it's not advisable to take shelter under a dangerous wall. Why should he take the risk of staying in Misty Cloud City? It would be better to enter the Misty Cloud Mountains deeper. This way, he could not only evade the pursuit of the cultivators from the ghost demon sect but also get the second stage demon core, helping his Deo companions to advance their cultivation to the Foundation Establishment realm, and become high-level Foundation Establishment cultivators. After all, his Deo companions have been stuck at the Chi cultivation 9th layer for a few years already. It's about time they advanced to the Foundation Establishment realm. If all three of his Deo companions become Foundation Establishment cultivators, then he would have 3 Foundation cultivators backing him up. Wouldn't he then be able to walk around freely here? No matter how you look at it, it was a situation where he could gain much with a single move. Chapter 109, Making Golden Light 1000 Poison Goo, which can cure 10,000 poisons. Isn't this the 1000 spider 10,000 poison grass? While carefully inspecting every spiritual medicine he had received from the Lu family, Zhou Sui had a sudden realization. One of the spiritual medicines was extremely unique and was precisely the special spiritual medicine he had long desired. This 1000 spider 10,000 poison grass was a unique poisonous herb deep within the Cloud Mist mountain range, brimming with a terrifying toxicity. It's the main ingredient for the 1000 spider 10,000 poison pill. Once successfully refined, this pill could instantly detonate and produce an enormous poison fog. Even a Foundation Establishment cultivator, if accidentally exposed, would be poisoned to death. The ferocity of its toxicity was something that made countless cultivators shudder in fear. Of course, Zhou Sui didn't covet this poisonous herb in order to refine the 1000 spider 10,000 poison pill, on the contrary, he wanted to refine it into an extraordinary goo insect, known as the Golden Light 1000 Poison Goo. This goo insect is supposedly the king of all poisons, feasting on the world's poisons. It is essentially immune to all kinds of poison and vanquishes all evils. To possess such a goo insect is equivalent to commanding countless poisons. Even more so, one could exploit this goo insect's abilities to neutralize all kinds of deadly poisons. It was known that Lang Yuexi currently harbored an extraordinary poison known as Blue Demon in her body. Due to the time taken, the severe poison had already lodged into her organs. If left untreated, it would be incurable with panacea. Yet, if he could manage to refine this goo insect, it would be effortless to eliminate the blue demon poison afflicting Lang Yuexi. It would be nothing but a simple task. By then, he would have a perfectly intact Foundation Establishment cultivator, the benefits of which were self-evident. Perfect. Imagining this, Zhou Sui became frantic with excitement. Without hesitation, he threw the 1000 spider 10,000 poison grass into the goo divine bowl, along with several auxiliary materials. At the same time, he also threw in 20 or 30,000 lower-grade spiritual stones to stimulate the power of the goo divine bowl. Boom! 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 In an instant, all these materials were refined by the goo divine bowl, transforming into swirling chaotic energy. After a certain period of time, a golden goo insect with gold wings growing on its back appeared within the goo divine bowl, radiating an unmatched aura. It opened its huge mouth, as if it was swallowing and spewing clouds and mist, with a terrifying poisonous fog engulfing its surroundings. Any mortal being would probably die instantly upon inhaling a hint of it, incapable of resisting such intense toxicity. Success! Zhou Sui faintly smiled as he sensed a surge of enormous information flowing from the goo insect into the depths of his sea of consciousness. Golden Light 1000 Poison Goo, a heavenly earth goo worm proclaimed as the king of all poisons that feeds on any and all uncommon poisons of the world. When it devours a peculiar poison, it acquires the power of that specific poison. It can swallow all the poisons of the world, yet also dissolve all the poisons of the world. It is the dreadful king of all poisons and is capable of releasing intense poison. Simultaneously, it is also a sacred worm that can dissolve all worldly poisons. Suddenly, the golden goo worm flew towards him and instantly penetrated his skin, drilling into his body. Ultimately, it resided within his kidney area. With this goo worm, all poisons of the world had little effect on him. Instead, all poisons merely served as food for it, aiding in enhancing the strength of the golden light thousand poison goo. Haha, with this golden light thousand poison goo, I can easily rid Lang Yuexi of the blue demon. But there's no rush. Acting too quickly may not necessarily be beneficial. It would be better to wait a few more days and then detoxify her. After all, as a cultivator of the advanced foundation establishment realm, she can hold on for some time without dying from the poison. Zhou Sui stroked his chin. Originally, he planned to help detoxify Lang Yuexi immediately, but after some contemplation, he decided to wait a few days. He knew he couldn't rush in and resolve the issue immediately, as it would seem too cheap. Just like the locksmiths in his previous life who were called upon to pick locks. Even though they could unlock the lock within a second, they would still dawdle and fumble around for 10 or so minutes. The objective behind this was to give the client a feeling of getting their money's worth. If the lock could be opened in 1 second, others would feel like they were being cheated and might even refuse to pay. Some novice locksmiths succumbed to this mistake, resulting in many disputes. Such is human nature. With that in mind, Zhou Sui began contemplating the 7 apertures spirit secret, eager to master this esoteric knowledge quickly. A few days later, inside Misty Cloud City, the entire city was completely controlled by the cultivators of the Ghost Demon sect. Many loose cultivators were captured and imprisoned in courtyards, unable to escape. As for the disciples of the Immortal Mist sect, they were either killed or held captive. The once bustling loose cultivator city was now pockmarked and desolate, resembling a ghost town. What's going on? Why haven't we found Lang Yuexi? Where on earth is that woman hiding? A Foundation establishment elder was furious. The main objective of their attack on Misty Cloud City was to capture Lang Yuexi alive. But now, they couldn't even catch a glimpse of her. It felt like punching the air. If Lang Yuexi managed to escape, all their previous efforts would be in vain. Apologies, Elder. A disciple from the Ghost Demon sect trembled. We have searched thoroughly for that woman, but even after inspecting the entire Misty Cloud City and every cultivator, we did not find any trace of Lang Yuexi. Perhaps, she had already fled amid the chaos and is no longer in the city. Impossible. How could a woman poisoned by blue demon manage to escape? The elder did not believe that Lang Yuexi, who was poisoned, could escape. If she could have done so, she would have left a long time ago. Why would she wait so long? Perhaps that woman has some treasures on her. After all, she is the young sect master of the Immortal Mist sect, who knows what trumps she might have, said the disciple of the Ghost Demon sect, thinking that it wasn't surprising if she had already fled. After all, she was a well-known genius and a Foundation establishment cultivator. Who knows what treasures she might possess? Perhaps, she had already escaped when Misty Cloud City was breached. And it wasn't just Lang Yuexi who slipped away, but some members of the Lu family as well. While the elder from the Lu family was fighting with the Ghost Demon sect's Foundation establishment elder, many cultivators escaped into the depths of the Cloud Mist mountain range. Once they entered the depths of the Cloud Mist mountain range, it was like a dragon entering the sea. Finding them would be virtually impossible. Damn that old coot Lu! Everything is his fault. If it weren't for him, how could that woman have escaped? The Foundation establishment elder was nearly choked with rage. Even if he didn't want to believe it, he had to admit that she had indeed escaped. Otherwise, they wouldn't still be without a trace of her till now. He blamed everything on the elder of the Lu family. If it hadn't been for his interference, they would have captured Lang Yuexi long ago, and even used her to threaten the Immortal Mist sect. Now, they had nothing. Elder, what should we do with the loose cultivators? Should we kill them all? A disciple of the Ghost Demon sect inquired. Why kill them? Catch them all and send them to the mines, let them dig for our Ghost Demon sect. Waste not, want not. If we kill them all, who will mine for our Ghost Demon sect? The Foundation establishment elder grumbled. Yes, Elder. The disciple of the Ghost Demon sect immediately obeyed the command. Chapter 110, Help Lang Yuexi Detox. The Foundation establishment female cultivator is in a mess. At this moment, in an underground shelter, Zhou Sui's life these past few days had been quite leisurely. Despite having Saintess Lang Yuexi of the Immortal Mist sect by his side, his routine hadn't changed much. He was cultivating and dual cultivating, cultivating and dual cultivating. His life remained very regular. He was not perturbed by the events in Misty Cloud City, for they had no bearing on him. The 7 apertures spirit secret is really challenging. Zhou Sui sighed deeply. Over the past few days, he'd been trying repeatedly to train in the 7 apertures spirit secret, with the aim of forming his first hard eye. However, he learned that it was a tough task requiring absolute concentration without any room for error. Moreover, he had to succeed in his first attempt. Failure implied starting from scratch, even risking substantial harm to his soul. But each attempt at forming a hard eye served as a form of soul training. He felt his soul power growing rapidly over these days. His progress was significantly faster compared to his natural growth rate. Without a doubt, this was a top-notch secret technique for the soul, highly valuable and rare. Thankfully, I have the help of the bookworm. With its power, I can simulate my training. After simulating thousands of times, I'll be sure to succeed. The first hard eye is for discernment, consisting of 18,000 spirit lines. As long as I am successful in forming these 18,000 spirit lines, I would have successfully cultivated my first hard eye. Zhou Sui smiled slightly. The saying goes, the first step is the hardest. Once he gets the first step right, the rest wouldn't be as difficult. It's the same for the training in the 7 apertures spirit secret. Once he has started on the virtual panel, the rest is merely a matter of diligent cultivation. Each cultivation session would undeniably result in progress. By the way, it's about time I assisted Lang Yuexi to detoxify. Zhou Sui stroked his chin. After waiting for several days, estimating the time, it seemed to be the right moment to make a move. Once Lang Yuexi recovers her foundation establishment cultivation, she would become a significant force for him. In the upcoming operations in the Misty Cloud Mountains, her help would indeed be needed. Thinking of this, he left his room and went towards Lang Yuexi's room. At this very moment, Lang Yuexi was in her room, a hint of embarrassment on her beautiful face. This brute, what is he up to all day and night, doesn't he ever tire of it? Lang Yuexi clenched her fists, seething with anger. She initially thought living with this man wouldn't cause much trouble. However, she forgot those 3 women were all his Dao companions. These brutes were constantly engaged in intimate matters, with no regard for the feelings of others. Although she was now over 80 years old, thanks to her rigorous training, she had never experienced such things, maintaining her purity. She had never interacted with any other man. Who would have thought, this man was like a rutting beast, engaging in such matters daily. Being in the adjacent room, she occasionally heard such sounds, which made her feel embarrassed. She wished she could leave right away. But considering the members of the ghost demon sect still hunting her, she calmed down. Compared with being caught by the ghost demon sect, she could bear this little trouble. Yet, she was still restless. Every time she thought of that man doing all those shameless things in the next room, she was filled with rage. The problem was, she had encountered similar situations before, but she was always indifferent and didn't care. She had no idea why so much had changed after meeting this man. Why could this man get the pleasures of the world, while she had to bear the pain of the poison? Lang Yuexi clenched her fists, feeling a trace of resentment. Thud. Just then, there came some footsteps from outside. Zhou Sui had reached the door of her room. Even though it was an underground bedroom, there was a makeshift wooden door providing some privacy. Saintess Ling. Zhou Sui spoke. "Wh, what do you want?" Lang Yuexi blushed, maintaining her composure. She felt strange. Wasn't this man usually preoccupied with his shameless actions with his Dao companions? Why did he suddenly come to see her? Was he unsatisfied with his Dao companions and wanted her now? She was alone now, seriously weakened due to the poison, unable to resist him if he tried to force himself onto her. Should she fight back, or comply, or treat it as if she had been bitten by a dog, just for the sake of survival? If he was really determined, maybe she could pretend to comply, compromising for her safety. That's it, she was trying to endure and bear the humiliation, she was not succumbing to this man. She was thinking many conflicting thoughts, finding excuses for herself, her mind in turmoil. Even if she really did lose her purity to this man, it was for a bigger purpose, definitely not something disgraceful. Maybe she could even take advantage of the situation to take control of this man. Wasn't that how the female cultivators of the demon sect operated? She could use a similar strategy. With a creak, the wooden door opened, and Zhou Sui's figure appeared before Lang Yuexi. He came, this man was really here. Looking at the tall figure before her, the intense masculine aura emanating from him made her legs feel numb, almost causing her to collapse. Even though she was a Foundation establishment cultivator, why did she feel unable to resist this man? It was quite strange. Her heart was pounding wildly, feeling a sense of panic like never before. This feeling was so weird. Even when she was surrounded by many Foundation establishment cultivators from the Ghost Demon sect, she had never felt such anxiety. Saintess Ling, I have some good news. I found a way to detoxify you, Zhou Sui spoke directly. I'll have you know I'm not easy. Wait a minute, what did you mean by you found the method for detoxification? Lang Yuexi's face was flushed completely as she was preparing to tell this man not to mess with her. But upon hearing his words, her eyes widened in disbelief, as she stared at Zhou Sui. Did this man even know what he was saying, claiming he had found the method for detoxification? She was poisoned with blue demon, a notorious, incurable poison. She had tried many methods but to no avail and was waiting for her death. Yes, I have found the method to cure your poison. Soon, you can be free of this lethal poison and regain your health. You can rest assured, Zhou Sui nodded.